And we welcome you back a couple of weeks ago when South Carolina went up to Lexington and pulled that upset and nearly did it a week later against LSU. People were wondering, how did this happen? But for folks who watch South Carolina and know a lot about what's going on there, we're not at least the least bit surprised. They have one of the best defensive lines in the country, and one of the reasons is our next guest, Kyle Kennard, who is at South Carolina, came over from Georgia Tech. Just saw a recent headline, Kyle, in Sports Illustrated. They called you the best defensive end in college football. I know you probably are more concerned about getting ready for the next practice and the next game, but congratulations on your year and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So tell us about what we have seen so far from South Carolina. It's been pretty amazing to watch a lot of huge games ahead, but take us inside that locker room and especially how the Gamecocks have looked so good.
Man, as far as my side of the ball, it's just something that we've been talking about since before the season started. I mean, during spring ball, during summer workouts, even winter workouts, and throughout fall camp, we just talked about being what we know we could be. We knew since the beginning that we had the pieces to do so. So the testing grounds would just be going out there to improve it. And I think throughout these first few games, we're doing a good job meshing together and gelling together. And we got a lot of great things to come for the rest of the season.
And just so many huge games coming up. Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. The list goes on. Clemson later on. But in terms of your decision to come over, obviously everybody has different opportunities now, but you had a really stellar career in Atlanta. Take us through your thought process and how you ended up landing in Columbia.
So obviously I looked for a new opportunity, a new change around me. So I dived in the transfer portal, and just throughout my recruiting process, I was just looking for whatever tended the most to what I needed, which as far as school, play style, a scheme, and I feel like South Carolina was the best for me. Not to mention just the people in the building. I feel like that was like the best thing ever as far as any place that I went. I feel like they are genuine. They actually care about you and everything that they say that they'll do for you and do for your life and career. It actually comes into fruition. And that's just in the short time that I've been here.
And Kyle, that's so interesting because we've all heard the recruiting pitches, and we're all gullible. Obviously, we want to believe what people say, but I guess you're telling us that deep little secret that maybe everyone's not as genuine as what you heard from Coach Beamer and his staff.
I wouldn't say that at all, but I would say that Coach Beamer and those guys were the most genuine.
By the way, I know you got a career in the NFL, but you also have a career in politics. That was one of the most artful answers I have ever heard. Well done. This year, your numbers are fantastic. 10 tackles, 5.5 sacks. I mean, just so many impressive things that are going on. And I realize you're part of a unit. Talk about the cohesion of that defensive line and how it affects everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said about the article that came out, I think it said something like, "In the anchor of this Gamescom defensive line." I appreciate the good, kind words, but I don't even want to call myself the anchor of this defensive line because we all just work so well together. It's not like one guy is driving the boat or anything like that. And also feel like that's doing a disservice to guys who've been here and laid the foundation for the defensive line or defense to even get to this point. Like guys in the interior, like Tonka Hemingway or Boogie Huntley or even TJ Sanders, like guys that just worked from the ground up in this program. And I love the South Carolina Gamecocks, but major respect to those guys. I mean, I would call those guys the anchors before me.
But anyway, don't ever argue with a good headline like that, please. I want to talk about Dylan Stewart for a second. He's a young guy on that line. And what's it like for some of you guys like you to help mentor someone who obviously is coming into South Carolina with so much upside?
Ah man, just every day working with Dylan is a pleasant day because one, he's just a gifted, talented guy, and I'm sure everyone sees that. And he's so young and has just so much more room for improvement. So the things that he already has right now, while already having so much room to grow, is just amazing to see.
We've had some of your statistics on the screen of what you did at Georgia Tech and obviously now. But when you get to this point, a bye week and the schedule, listen, you're always going to have a difficult schedule, but it's hard to find two more formidable opponents than what you'll have after the bye week. First of all, how do you spend the bye week, and what is it like to finally settle down after these first couple of weeks?
It's the one of the biggest things for us physically, I would say, because it's a good time to get your body back, your legs back under you, while also having like, extra time to prepare for your opponents. I mean, it's obviously a good luck of the draw to have an extra week than your opponent to prepare. So that's one of the best things. And like I said, taking care of your body. So that's what I'm doing.
And to say the least, that Ole Miss game is going to be quite a moment. But you've already had the whole world watching with LSU. I realize you went to Georgia Tech for a reason, and it's an outstanding school, and certainly they're doing a good job there. But how different is it being at a place like Columbia, already experiencing what you've seen, knowing what is still to come with so many mega games coming up?
Like I said, love the time there in Atlanta, but here is just different. I mean, like the things that they say about the SEC is 100% true. I mean, as far as the atmosphere, the fans are loud. They keep you in the game all night. I mean, even when you're down, they give you a kind of a pick me up. So I guess that was probably the biggest difference, like seeing how big and how fulfilling like the atmosphere of a SEC college football game could get.
Okay, I want you to, Kyle, give us an education because we just watched a couple of your sacks, and there, I mean, there are a lot of great positions in college football, but to be the edge rusher, I don't know. I've known a few, and there's nothing quite like getting to the quarterback. I realize there's a lot more to the game than that, but that's the payoff that we all make out of you. But take us through just the huddle. You get up to the line. There's so many things are going on. I know it looks simple, but it's not.
Yeah, just like you said, it's very, very not simple. I mean, with a repetition and repetition and repetition on end, I mean, you eventually get things down pack and you try to make them second nature. But to even think about doing these things, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I probably feel like the how hard it is skill wise, it does probably go under the radar. But definitely, we definitely getting things down to just enhance the position for sure.
I mean, I realize you work on this and you drill it, but as you're lining up, what are you looking for on that edge?
As I'm lining up,
Yeah, like
it
as the
depends.
play as you're getting ready as you go to the defensive line of scrimmage. I mean, what are you watching for? Because there's so many things that can go wrong if you don't see them.
Right. I mean, I said the most important thing is probably keying the ball or the offensive tackle, depending on whether you're at home or away, depending on whether they can hear or not. I feel like once you do that, everything else take care of itself. We don't want to be reactionary, but we kind of do in a sense based off what the offensive tackle does, so you can be most prepared for what happens next. So basically, getting a good read on what the offensive tackle and offensive formation is, so you can be in the best position to make a play.
Now, Kyle, we all know the quarterbacks are protected and the officials tend to do everything they can, which is fine. But you're on the other side of that. I mean, how aware do you have to be? You know where the ball is. You don't want to cost your team, and in terms of that.
So sorry,
Well,
what you asking
yeah,
me?
what I'm trying to ask you is how close a line is it as you're going in to know? I mean, you're obviously trying to get to the quarterback, but you don't want a penalty. How do you try to avoid that?
You want to kind of get to him before he lets the ball go. Sometimes that's the biggest thing when he already threw the ball and you can't stop your momentum or something like that. And you also don't want to do anything heinous, like maybe grab him, so things like that help you get closer to the quarterback without like getting a penalty or anything like that.
I'm sure it's tempting though. We showed a tweet a minute ago about Robbie Ashford. He came in under some very difficult circumstances, and you're obviously you put this out there about him. He's had an interesting career from Auburn to here. Talk a little bit about his situation right now.
That's my guy. I was talking about in the media after the game about how you kind of get close with guys when you get to a new school, whether that's you being a freshman or a transfer. And Robbie was one of those guys that I tended to when I first got here, and we became closer. And then we talked, and then like throughout the season, we talked even when things went his way or they didn't. He he responded to everything that I said and that we talked about, and that was the thing I was happiest about over the past weekend of him playing so well. It's like, bro, like not everyone steps up to the calling plate when it's time to, and you did. So I was so proud of him for that.
Well done, Kyle. Thanks for spending time with us. The best the rest of the year, and I have a feeling you have a great career ahead of you at the next level. Be well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me on here.
Thank you very much, Kyle Kennard.